What's up, Weekend Warriors? We're blasting off again as we welcome everyone into episode 47 of the Weekendology podcast. This is the only podcast with the hottest takes, the best talking points, and the stories to spark your weekend conversations. So for everything related to all the best topics from music, movies, sports, food, and more, we've got you covered. I'll be your pilot in this episode. I'm Will Deichley, alongside my co-pilot, Aaron Berg. What is up, man? How you doing?
Well, you know what co-pilots do.
What do they do?
They tell the pilot where to go. So
Oh, well, that's true.
I'm the captain now.
I would say we are both captains.
Oh, okay.
Co-captains.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
I wouldn't be able to navigate without your great skills, so
Aw,
I know.
so nice.
Just so much love on this podcast. We're just all about bringing positivity and warmth.
Peace, love, and positivity.
Yes,
like
all
logic.
of that kind of stuff. So we want to thank all of our returning listeners for joining us again this week. And if you're new to the show, welcome aboard. The show is all about changing, improving, and making things better as we cover all the best topics from around the pop culture and the sports world. Weekendology is a partner of the Big Red World. They're a podcast publishing network with some great podcasts like The House That Rick Built and Six Drunk, One Sober. Go check them out on Twitter at Big Red Social, and their website is bigredworld.org. To keep up with all things music, movies, sports, video games, and more about the changing areas in the world, go follow our social handles as well. Our main Twitter is at WeekendologyPod, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And for all things sports related, check us out at WKNDOLLGY Sports. And for all things entertainment related, check us out at Weekendology ENT or Weekendology Ent.
That was impressive spelling, by the way. That was really cool.
Thank you. I practiced that in front of the mirror, so... No, I don't actually practice that. I don't practice anything for this podcast.
Like when you say popular podcasts.
Popular Podcasting Network from St. Louis, yes. I just have a way with words, Aaron.
You do.
Ow now, brown
podcast.
cow.
Red leather, yellow leather.
Red. The cow jumped over the moon. But yes, for those who don't have Twitter, don't worry, because we have Facebook. So go check us out on our Facebook page for all of the
stoop to your
episodes.
level.
Yeah, we'll stoop to all of you Facebook people levels. And as you listen to this week's episode, whether on Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Twitter, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, wherever you listen from, hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button.
Are we on Stitcher? Has that been proven?
We're not on Stitcher, but I mean,
you lied. You lied to the people.
I mean, we're pretty much on everywhere else.
All those
so.
Stitcher people are just gonna be like, "Where is it?"
We're on Podomatic. We're on
There you go.
Spreaker.
Oh, man. That's reaching.
We're going to be soon to be on Amazon Music podcast.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jeff.
That's happening soon. So
Jeff just hooking us up. He's like, you know what?
Hey, Jeff Bezos.
You guys need to get on my network. We're like, you know what?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well,
We
Amazon's
really
starting
appreciate
their own music type of streaming thing or whatever, and podcasts are going to be part of that. So I actually just got an email saying that we can submit our podcast to Amazon Music. So if you're a subscriber of Amazon Music, look out for Weekendology podcast on that streaming site.
I don't like how podcasts are being lumped in with music. They're separate.
I know. But, I mean, would you rather pay for a separate streaming network or service?
That's a good point.
So we already have reached max capacity for pretty much all of that.
Forget
so.
it. Someone's going to hear that and think, okay, make more money?
The podcasting
Amazon
network.
Podcast.
Yes.
And then Amazon Music.
Apple Podcasts.
Wouldn't put it past them to do that.
I wouldn't put it past them either. So, yeah, but hit that subscribe button. We really like to hear what you guys' thoughts are, and it shows us that you really love our episode content, and you think that Aaron's a true awesome superstar. So
I'm just a weekend warrior.
Super mega awesome I don't know. Never mind. Forget it. Didn't practice
Where was that going?
I was going to do a funny nickname, but it didn't work out. So moving on. Next part of the episode. I always crack Aaron up during these two. Don't forget to check out Lionfish Promotions as well.
Oh, they're back.
They're always here, Aaron. Lionfish Promotions
in
never
spirit,
leaves.
at least.
Yeah, it's like the Holy Spirit. You know, it's always around you, in you, beside you, all that kind of stuff. Is that the
Holy Trinity, you, me, and Lionfish Promotions?
Exactly. That's a great analogy. So if you or your business are in need of some cool swag to give out to employees, clients, or even build the brand of your business up, Lionfish Promotions has you covered.
Build the brand of your business up.
That's another.
Wow, you really practiced
My
today.
alliteration is off the charts today.
Talking about practice?
We talking about the game time, which is now, so I don't practice anything. But if you are in need of any of that kind of stuff, they've got every kind of item from pens, notebooks, cups, mugs, t-shirts, and more to be branded with your own personal logo. So head on over to lionfishpromotions.com and use the code WEEKEND for 10% off of your first purchase. And tell them that we sent you. Or tell us that you went there.
Just start upping that code.
Yeah.
Because, like, I feel like if we up it, we'll get a little more.
Well, the more that you buy, the more money you get off. So it's like...
The more you spend, the more you save.
It pretty much, yeah. Buy in bulk and quantity, and you get more money off. So it's a better deal.
Amazing.
It's incredible how economy works and everything. So,
and it tricks people every time.
It does trick people well, it's not a trick. We're not supposed to say that on the air. So
I didn't say.
You didn't say.
I didn't say
anything.
lionfish is tricking you.
No.
Just the general concept. Is
Exactly.
Lionfish never tricks people.
No,
they're just
never.
about swag.
They're about cool swag and stuff to build up the brand of
Lionfish.
your business.
Swag.
That was a great tagline. # swag lionfish. I'll
Yep.
talk to the CEO and have him put that as a marketing campaign. So
Yeah, you missed your chance. You saw the CEO 2 weeks ago.
I did. So we had a couple business conversations. So
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Good.
things in the pipeline. So
Nice.
Let's move on to the pick of the week then, Aaron. Do you have your pick of the week? You have 2 picks of the week usually all the time. So
Yeah.
what are you watching, listening to?
I was just gonna do one, but I figured
You could do one.
I need to do 2.
You could do.
I like 2 because just there's so many different things to types. You could do books, you could do movies, you could do podcasts.
Exactly. That's why we're here, to give all of our listeners the best recommendations on everything that's popular.
Exactly.
And what
So,
we're reading or listening to.
I'm gonna throw out. I told you about this one in person. Robin Williams documentary. It's called "Come Inside My Mind."
I love Robin Williams, and that title is perfect for him. So
Yeah, makes me smile.
I wonder how it's spelled.
It's just don't have your mind go there.
So where can you watch it then?
You can watch it on HBO.
Oh,
so yeah, for all
nice.
you non-peasants, but
I
it's
don't
worth
have
it.
HBO, so
You don't have HBO?
no, sadly.
Wow, you're missing out. You're missing out on a lot of my picks then, because you missed out on like Hard Knocks and missed out on a lot of stuff. But get HBO. It's worth it. But very good documentary. I'm not a huge Robin Williams guy, but the more I saw in the documentary, the more I'm like, you know what? I've seen a lot more Robin Williams than I thought. And fascinating life, fascinating story. Really makes you think twice about what's going on with people, because
Yeah, it's really tragic how he
Yeah.
kind of ended his life and passed away.
his
and,
whole life was just tragic. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It was kind of like when he passed away, people were shocked, and then you watch the documentary and you realize, no, this was how he was. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, he's such an incredible talent, and I love pretty much everything Robin Williams was in, and I will definitely check out that documentary.
You have to watch it because it's amazing, and also you may not think that is has to do with today's episode, but it does in a weird way. So
You know
where he got his start?
I would say SNL, but I don't think that's
No,
right. So
way before that.
no, where did he get his start?
Happy Days. He
Really?
played the character Mork.
Oh, I did
You know
not
the show
know
Mork
that.
and Mindy?
No, I've heard of it, but I've
Yeah.
never watched it.
So it's old school. He played the character Mork on Happy Days. It was just like a weird character they did.
Wow.
Because one of the producers' kids wanted a spaceman in the podcast, so they put like an alien. I think he was an alien. They put an alien character in that. So he's talking to the Fonz and
That's awesome.
all those guys.
I didn't
Richie
know that.
Cunningham and all. Yeah, he's right there. And what a cast too.
I know, right?
Robin Williams with what's his name? Opie from Andy Griffith Show.
I don't
Ron
know.
Howard.
Yeah.
And then Henry Winkler. I mean, wow, that's a superstar cast.
Well, I will definitely check it out. Come Inside My Mind.
Yeah,
on
great,
HBO.
great stuff. And then also great actor too.
Yeah. Well, I love Robin Williams, and I'll for sure do it, and
Second
everyone
pick.
else do it too. So 2 picks now.
Ready for this one?
2, go.
This one's a man pick. Here.
Oh,
Jocko Willink podcast.
okay.
Get
Never heard
ready.
of that,
Get
but
ready to just become a man when you listen to that.
do I get like extra hair in my chest?
Oh
Or
yeah.
do I get like a cigar box delivered to my house with some scotch and stuff? And
I mean, yeah, like to the
Perfect.
manliest degree.
oh,
I mean, you're gonna be listen to it's a Joe Rogan type podcast where it's like 3 hours long.
Gotcha.
But I listen on YouTube. Actually, I cheat. But you listen to this thing, man, you're gonna run through a wall. It's incredible. Former Navy SEAL Jocko Willink.
Oh, I think I know who this guy
Ultimate
is.
warrior, man.
Yeah. I've seen some of. He has like an Instagram, and he has
huge.
some stuff on that. He's massive.
He's giant. Yeah.
He did the Tough Mudder thing, and he did it in like record time or something too. It was like
I'm sure he did.
an incredible, like, I don't know. It was like half the time of everybody else.
When you see this
it.
man, you're just or just listen to him. You don't have to see him. You're just like, wow, okay, yeah, the country's in good hands. We got people like him defending it.
Jocko Willink.
I
just
mean,
with that name, you just sound so secure. And
yeah,
you just
the
like,
Jocko podcast.
This man
just
is
incredible.
A complete savage. So
he is, and he makes me feel like super lazy when I follow him. You can follow him on Twitter too. He'll tweet every single morning how he wakes up at 4:30 a.m. and says, "Get some," and it's just like, yeah, I need to get out of bed.
Yeah, I'll pass on for that. But two very good picks, Aaron.
Yeah, there you go.
Bringing all the great stuff to the Weekendology podcast.
I give.
But mine, so with spooky season right around the corner, I want to shout out a great podcast that I listen to every week, the No Sleep Podcast. They're a horror-based podcast. They do a bunch of great stories and stuff based around spooky, scary, horror type of elements.
Is it actually scary?
It is, yeah. Some of the stories are pretty, like, you get a chill runs down your spine and everything. So
I don't like that stuff. That's not for me.
I mean, they have, it's like, it's not based on real stuff.
Yeah, but it's
not like real life ghost accounts.
Spooky. It's like, it gives you weird thoughts.
Well, Halloween's about a month away, and October's one of my favorite months, so hashtag spooky season. Go check out.
You do love Halloween.
I do love Halloween.
You weirdly think Halloween's better than Christmas, so
it's because it is. But that's just agree to disagree, Aaron. So
pretty blasphemous to me. But
go check out the No Sleep Podcast, though. They're on everywhere you listen to podcasts. Go check out their Twitter as well. They're on Spotify, Apple, pretty much everywhere. So
are these guys like writers? Or
yeah, so it's a big network and everything, and they do all sorts of different. They like write their own stories, or they take submissions and stuff, and then they act it out. So it's basically like them acting through.
So it's
microphones.
like what you'd listen to like in the 40s, like a murder mystery,
kind of like a drama type of thing, like
a radio drama.
And they usually do about 2 to 3 different stories per episode, and they're good length. They're about an hour and a half sometimes.
Do they have like sound effects and stuff?
Yep, they have sound effects.
This is like
it's a full on production and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very, very good. So.
Cool.
They have different themes each season, too. So this season is all about the crazy, weird, I guess, alternate dimensions and stuff. So
interesting.
Yeah, all the stories are based around that.
I love Halloween, but I don't like the scary part. I like the dressing up, but I'm never something scary for Halloween. I'm always something like fun. Which I guess isn't really the point of Halloween, but... I
mean, Halloween's the chance to be something you don't always get to be in real life, so...
I guess.
But I love it because it's the candy, and it's usually, the peak fall time and everything, and I don't know, there's a very big nostalgia for Halloween for me.
Yeah, but see, that's fun stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, you said you like the scary stuff.
I mean, I do like the scary stuff, too, so... It's the only time that I actually do like being scared.
I just listen to a lot of Motionless in White.
Oh,
and that's as scary as
that
I'll
just
get.
Makes me depressed. So, all right, Aaron, we're moving on to the actual meat of the episode now. We're doing something a little bit different, as people can probably gather from the title of it as they click and listen to us. But we're venturing off.
I'm so dumb. I never thought about that. I always thought we had to like kind of keep it a secret and like not give away what we were talking about, but like. The title.
Nah, the title kind of gives it away.
And there's a full description.
Exactly.
Didn't even think about that.
So we're venturing off into the final frontier, Aaron. Space. With Space Force coming soon, not the show.
It's here.
Well, not the show, but the Space Force is here.
Man.
Yes.
Yeah, we're protecting space.
We want to protect space.
And that show is garbage,
laser beams and Did
we talk about this?
Steve Carell. We did, yeah. It's a bad show.
Well, it deservedly so. It's trash. Yes. So don't watch it.
But we're talking about the real space program. We wanted to ask the question, Is space travel a smart investment? So we're off on the final frontier, Aaron. Here we go. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Strapped in.
So the space program sounds like an educational program.
You sound like Neil deGrasse Tyson.
The space program began in 1961 with
you gotta say
John F. Kennedy.
You do have to pronounce it how he pronounces it though. Worder. He didn't say water. He says worder.
Worder. Okay. But Americans in the world are no strangers to the space program. I mean, it's been around for 50 years now at this point. And
61.
So that's what 60 years. 60 years, yeah, somewhere around there.
Wouldn't that be 59 years?
I don't know, 59, 60. You're splitting hairs here.
It might have started in 1960,
yeah.
actually.
But after the Russians sent up Sputnik and everything, this was satellite, thus began the Great Space Race.
That was 1957. I know that one.
Yes, that was 1957. So Kennedy eventually got his wish when Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin landed on the moon, and we've had a lot of great space exploration since then. I mean, if you don't think that the moon landing was fake for whatever reason, then...
I was going to say something, but I
No, what are you going to say, Aaron?
No.
All right, fine. Don't say it then.
Have you ever noticed how the flag waves in space when they plant the flag on the moon?
I mean, yeah, it's because it's like floating in the air, or not air, but like there's no gravity, so like there's nothing to tether, like keep it down, like how there's no wind.
But why is it floating sideways? Wouldn't it float up?
Because it can't, because the flag, like the pole is there, so it probably floats up a little bit, and then it just like floats in place though. So that's non-gravity for you.
Okay.
We're going to be teaching you all some great stuff.
Yeah, I'm
today.
ready to learn. I've always wondered that.
Yeah, so we've had a lot of different space explorations in the past, with the space shuttle launching in 1981, the creation of the International Space Station in the early 2000s, all of which has pushed the boundaries of scientific exploration and accomplishments of humans. Aaron didn't laugh at that, so...
Was that funny?
No, it wasn't supposed to be funny.
The accomplishments of humans are funny.
So while it uncovers new space ideas and different things we didn't think were possible, it costs quite a bit of money, though. It's not like these things are super cheap or affordable.
Just send them up there.
I mean, if there was, then I would be just going up to space, just chilling up on my space station moon.
Stop by the moon for a second.
Yeah, just going to make a quick pit stop to get some milk on the moon or something. So
cheese. Moon's made of cheese.
So how much research have you done into this? Like, do you know how much usually space travel costs, or how much, everything is?
No.
No?
It's very expensive.
Aaron, you're coming unprepared to the
billions
podcast.
And billions of dollars.
It is. So NASA's budget for the fiscal year of 2020 is $22.629 billion. Now, you might be thinking, well, that's a lot of money for the U.S. to be spending for space travel. But it only equates to about 0.48% of the actual U.S. budget. If you think about that, that's a lot of money in the U.S. budget.
But if you think about that, how much debt are we in?
I mean, trillions of dollars of debt.
Exactly. So you want to put us further into debt?
Well, so the money is allocated anyway. So the money is going to get spent no matter what. It's either going to get spent on the space program, or it's going to get spent on something else.
Right.
So... to have less than 0.5% of the U.S. budget per year put into space travel, well, it's $22 billion. It's not as much compared to what that puts into the government military budget, or to, I don't know, healthcare or whatever else that they put the money into. Mm-hmm. So...
that is fascinating to think. You would think it would take up a bigger chunk.
And so, like, the budget, that $22 billion, doesn't necessarily go all of it towards space travel or putting men on the moon or missions to Mars or whatever. It goes to, like, 15 other subdivisions to it. So it goes to science and, research and development, like $7 billion goes to there. It goes to planetary science research, earth science research, astrophysics, it goes to heliophysics, goes to like lunar gateways, lunar landings, space technology, space operations, aeronautics, even like safety and security. So like that money is spread out into other divisions that are actually really helpful for, I guess, science and technology and the development of pushing those kind of things forward.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. People, when they think about that and they complain, why are we doing this? Without it, I mean, I think weather is one thing that comes to mind. A lot of things we know about weather is because of our space exploration, and a lot of things we know about just half the things that happen on Earth, whether it's the oceans or just weather in general. I mean, I think it's so important to have that, and to start early too, instead of putting it off and waiting and that sort of thing. So,
yeah, I agree. I mean, I think everything that we've all the accomplishments and like the advancements in technology over the last, 50 years have stemmed in some sort of way from the research and development into the space program, or developing the rocket boosters, or miniaturizing some of the fuel cells that go into the jet fuel, or certain stuff like that. But it's not cheap. NASA says that a rocket could cost upwards of $1.6 billion just to the moon going forward, and $3 billion for manned missions to other parts of the galaxy, like Mars and stuff like that.
How important do you think it is to go? Everyone talks about going to Mars. That's like the big topic, and now Venus all of a sudden, because they found some possible. There was a gas that was claimed to only be man-made, at least on Earth. And they found it on Venus, so they're thinking there's some form of life on Venus, and now people are talking about going there. How important do you think it is to go to these other planets?
I think it is important because, one, you have the ability to do something that nobody else has ever done before, and you can literally write your name in the history books by doing this. Mm-hmm. Now, is it worth spending the billions of dollars towards it? I think it is, because, one, it's such a small amount of money, and that money's going to get spent anyway, like I said. But two, you have the chance to discover something that might be a savior for the world itself. Mm. They could find some sort of particle on the moon, or Venus, or wherever, that leads to faster food production or faster food growth, or could a new element could be discovered for, I guess, clean energy, or quicker space travel, or quicker transportation in the world itself. Mm-hmm. So I think while it costs a lot of money, it definitely you can't just say no to that. Like, in my opinion. I don't know. What do you think?
I totally agree. I think if you just limit yourself to Earth, you're getting just one view, but you're going to these other planets, or just doing all sorts of research and all the different things it can go into here on Earth. I think that's such a benefit. That's worth the money, because you're getting, like you said, the clean energy solutions.
Yeah, the chance to do that.
Getting technology in general. With right. all the satellites going out there, all the, think of all the technology we use that is things we send to space, and that costs a lot of money, but it's made possible through that.
It's not like people are not on board with the idea. It's still a popular idea to be a global leader in space travel, or science and technology and research and development for that. 7 out of 10 Americans say that the U.S., it's important for the U.S. to be a global leader in space travel, and 8 out of 10 Americans say that investment in this, like the space station, is a good idea.
But I wonder, are they saying that because they think it's cool? And also, do they know how much it costs? I'm not on board saying, like, oh, it's too expensive, don't do it. I'm not one of those people. But I think a lot of people, if you just walk up to someone on the street and ask, should we explore space? Well, yeah. Why not? I really think that's what a lot of people think. They don't know those numbers you list off in the beginning. They don't know those.
You're not going to know them.
If you gave those to someone and said, is this worth it, and broke it down even more, I think you'd get a lot less people saying that, because they would say, well, there's other problems that we should be solving, or that we should use that money for something else here. My argument, though, is while, you could pick anything else to use that money on, if you just abandon space, we haven't gone to the moon since the 70s.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
If we just abandon that stuff,
everything is just like, it just goes to waste then. Like all the previous work and accomplishments have just gone to waste. So.
And then we're going to be catching up when we do decide to do it. Then we're what, 40 years behind? That you're setting yourself back so far. Whereas if you just consistently do it and consistently try to go to these other places for research purposes, I think you're going to be, one, I don't think it's going to cost as much.
Right. And like you said, the program itself, whether it be NASA or the Space Force or whatever budget is for...
What does the Space Force do exactly? I know they're a part of the Air Force.
They're supposed to use little lasers to protect the world and go pew, pew, pew. I don't know what they do.
Defending from aliens. Yeah. I haven't really looked... I should look into it, but...
They're just like a military force.
Well, that's what... When I read about it, I wasn't understanding it as well. Like...
It's just the military force for space. Like, that's it.
For what?
For
Star Wars?
Protection against, I don't know,
I don't
whatever
think they're really
aliens
doing,
are out there.
I don't think they're really doing protection, though.
Who knows, man? This is Trump's era we're in, so who knows what's happening?
But it's got to be like very important. They're not just going to create a division of the military.
Like I said,
to create it.
It's not just space exploration. Like NASA funds these missions to go into the outer atmospheres, and they do it for more than, like what you were saying, for weather anomalies or studying different climate changes. They study different areas of the world that you can't do, here.
So does Space Force do this too?
Not Space Force, but this is like NASA.
We need to do some research, and after this, I'm going to do some research.
We'll do a follow-up episode on Space Force.
Just Space Force.
Yes, but so they make room in the budget for stuff like that, and they're able to study Earth's atmosphere, their oceans, the climate effects on them. Different things here and there. So
see, and I think that I'm not an environmentalist at all, but I just think that's so important to know that, so that way we can discover these alternative solutions to protecting the environment. I mean, I think that's important, instead of just studying things on Earth and spending all the money on.
I mean, think of how much technology that have come out of the last 50 years of the research and development and scientific advances in the technology. Then satellites were shot up and used now for telecommunications.
Right.
I mean, you don't have the internet without satellites. You don't have TV without satellites.
Yeah. See, and I just think if we, I mean, you're on board with me here. I know, but if we just abandoned it and said nope, not worth the cost, not worth the money. I mean, think of. Technology wouldn't be where it's at
No,
today.
we would have no...
To me, that's the proof right there, that we need to keep expanding and furthering and just going past those boundaries and studying, and I think even to the extent of trying to go to these other planets.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean that's going to carry the research so much farther, and I think if we just keep staying... Oh, well, we got the space station, which I didn't even know that was that young, but... If we just stay on that and we just kind of stay, and not even going to the moon, I think we're going to really set ourselves back and really lose out on some amazing studies that we could do and amazing finds.
No, I agree with you.
I mean, think of how fast technology's moved in the past.
Oh, it's blown up in the last
20 years.
20, 30 years. Yeah. Without satellites, there would be no global navigation. I mean, and that stuff just goes far beyond, on your iPhone, trying to find, the nearest restaurant or something. It goes as far as tracking government and, military vehicles. It goes as far as, keeping an eye on weather anomalies and stuff, and predicting certain, natural phenomenons and disasters and stuff like that. Space travel has also led to a huge number of advances in other fields, like digital optics used in medical diagnosis, scratch-resistant lenses for glasses, enriched long-life foods like the freeze-dried foods and everything, and canned foods, or not canned foods, but like freeze-drying, I guess, like, I don't know, chicken.
Who would have guessed that?
Or yeah,
that's incredible.
Well, when you think about when you're putting somebody in space, it takes a couple months to get to the moon, and that's the closest thing we've got. So you got to pack food and be able to put it in a packaging that is conducive, that can travel in no oxygen or no gravity. So you're not just going to bring a pound of frozen chicken and keep it in the freezer. Like,
you got some tang.
Yeah. So all of the freeze-dried foods and the MREs and stuff,
gross.
They're disgusting, but all took influence from. Or they took influence from the MREs. It's kind of vice versa too. It also helps with miniaturized computers, like the microchip, formation of the computers and everything, where NASA was so prevalent in developing that kind of stuff and using those microchips for space travel.
So what do you think of, talking about NASA, what do you think of SpaceX? Do you think they're going to overtake NASA if it keeps...
So I have a section of that, the private sector of that, which is probably a good transition too. So there's the private sector of SpaceX, there's Blue Origin, Virgin Galactic, or whatever. Which one is Elon Musk part of? Is that SpaceX? Yeah.
Virgin's Richard Branson.
I'm a little split on it. I'm fine with billionaires just spending on if that's what they want to spend their money on, sure, go for it. It might be better off having them take over than having the government take over if you're lobbying for. Don't have the government spend the billions of dollars. Let's have the private billionaires spend it.
Well, in some cases, I think he's past what NASA's doing. I mean, some of the rockets he's built and some of the things he's done, NASA has looked towards him, and they're like, okay. Like, I mean, they're promoting him. It's not even like a competitor anymore.
He could be like a partner, so to speak. So he can go with NASA and say, I've got resources that you can't get your hands on, or extra funds, and then it's vice versa. So I think it would be a great partnership.
I think it's a great thing. I mean, at first I was kind of skeptical, when this stuff started coming out, and I thought, well, there's no way. You can't compete against NASA. You can't compete against the government
exactly
for space travel. But how smart these people are and how much money they have. I just think that's the way to go, where make this more I mean, the government, should do it, but I hope, maybe not in our lifetime, but later on, that it becomes more of an independent venture. So then that way we have more options to do these crazy explorations, these more studies, more different types of studies.
Right.
Maybe one person can focus on space travel, and one person could focus on just general research, just different areas that you can do within space rather than just the government doing all of it.
I would like to see that partnership happen too, and I think it would probably be better if maybe the government kind of maybe put a little bit less money into it then, just to appease everyone of like, oh, they're spending billions of dollars on something that isn't, I guess, helping the world directly, with poverty or hunger or agriculture or whatever.
Yeah, you can't. It's hard to see directly.
Yeah, so space investments is very much a long-term play. Like, we're reaping the rewards of 50 years worth of work. So think of how fast we've moved in 50 years. It could be even quicker in the next 10, 15, 20 years. So if you pool resources together, I mean, you've got a shot to do some great stuff. What about like the missions to Mars? Do you think those are valuable? I mean, I know you were talking about this earlier for like other planets, but is it worth putting humans up there at first, or should we send more like manned drones?
No, I think humans. I'm all in.
Oh, so you're all for that?
Partially, I think because I think it's cool.
I mean, it is cool.
But at the same time, just like how Kennedy thought it was very important to go to the moon, although half of that was just to beat Russia in something. But I think that if we get someone to Mars or just any other planet, Venus, if it's possible, I mean, the technology would just have to be insane to, their suit, just to handle that kind of atmosphere. But I really think studying a planet like that would help know, weather-wise especially. I think that's the number one thing. We'll know so much more about our atmosphere and how... I'm not a scientist, so this is a very dumbed-down explanation. So I do play one on TV.
Yes.
But I just think studying, like, for example, Mars climate, that's going to tell us so much more about Earth's climate change, all things like that.
Yeah,
these topics that we talk about on Earth, I think if we study them from other planets that, we find similarities in our own, that's helpful. Also, I'm going to throw a crazy one out there for you.
Oh, boy.
This one's nuts. Okay, but strap into your
rocket. I love crazy stuff, so...
We need to start this exploration because the sun is middle-aged. We have about...
The sun's reaching its, midlife crisis.
Pretty much. We have about 5 billion... I looked this up a couple weeks ago. We have about 5 billion years left of our sun.
No, you're right, actually.
So...
That is one of the proclaimed doomsday scenarios of how the Earth will end, probably long after human civilization is over with. But
we don't know that.
Well, we don't know that obviously, but
if you start now,
you're right.
Here's my point. If you start now and we take these baby steps, because in terms of the universe, that's a baby step to go to another planet. But if we start there, think of how fast, like I said, how fast technology is advanced.
Right.
You tell someone 40 years ago about the internet, they would think that's insane.
Yeah.
It's not even possible. If we can do that kind of advancement with space travel and just science in general, think about that. We might, maybe at the end of our lifetimes, we might be able to go to Saturn.
Well, they're already doing selling space missions or vacations and stuff to the moon, and
well,
I mean it costs $100.
That was a Richard Branson
grand.
thing, right? Wasn't he the one doing that?
But they're like, some of these private companies, like Elon Musk, is like, yeah, I'll sell a vacation to the moon, or I'll sell a vacation to Mars or something.
Airbnb on the moon.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, they're going for hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I would 100% do it.
I mean, if you could afford it, but yeah, that would be really cool. But I agree with you.
If I was 90 years old, I would spend every cent I had to do that, and that would be like the last thing I do. That would be pretty so neat, cool.
Yeah. But you're right. Like, Earth's resources are finite. There's only a certain amount of time and space that our planet can hold. And so we're eventually, to survive as a species, going to have to go off into other planets and find other things of other hospitable planets for us. So we have to do these things now, because it could take another 150, 200, it could take 1,000 years to discover interplanetary travel. But if we don't do this now, we risk... I don't want to sound pessimistic, but we risk the extinction of our species.
Well, and you think about it, like, again, I know it sounds crazy, but if we start now, let's say our lifetime. So next, I don't know, 60 years.
50 years, yeah.
That's scary to think about. We only have that much time left.
Don't say that, Aaron.
I know, isn't that weird?
Advancements in medical technology, we could live to at least 120. So
there you go.
We don't know.
And then, Methuselah did it.
Yeah, we got at least maybe 90, 100 years left. So
exactly. So let's say 50 years. Keep it easy.
Sure.
50 years. I mean, if we start there, and then the next 50 years, we have another, more discoveries. And think about if we can advance space travel as quick as we did basic technology.
Right.
And we keep doing that. 1,000 years from now, think of where we'll be. Then we can start putting people on planets.
Oh, that would be so cool.
They can start adapting to the climate, because people are like, well, you could never live on the planet. Yeah, because we're used to Earth.
Yeah. Humans evolve over time.
Exactly. That's
we
my
evolved
point.
from, I don't know, primates from little fish or whatever that's climbed out of the water, and now we're humans. So
that's the dumbest theory in the world. But
the theory
but
of evolution.
it's a scientific podcast, so you can go with that one.
Well, I'm not a scientist, so I just play one on a podcast.
On the podcast.
On the podcast.
But you know what I mean?
No, you're right.
It's in a crazy scenario. But if you really think about it, like 1,000,000 years from now, you could start that development, and so that way you're ahead of the game, instead of, oh my gosh, like we have to stay on Earth, and if like they talk about, the climate change is really turning Earth into this pressure cooker, and we're all gonna die, and Al Gore was right.
I mean, we're gonna run out of resources before that, I think, anyway. So like we
could, but I just think if you start that process now, we'll be so far ahead that like at least we'll have these other options, or at least we'll know, like, okay, we can go here, we can go there, we could just live on the space station, or just. I mean,
we've discovered other planets that have similar features to Earth, which could make them hospitable to us.
That's in another galaxy.
Yeah, so they're in different parts. They're in different galaxies, so they're really, really far away.
Is that what's a big one? Andromeda?
I think it's Andromeda. Is what it is. I think it is. Then
I always think of you ever watch Unbreakable, Kimmy Schmidt?
No.
Oh man,
sorry.
Get ready for the pick of the week next week.
Oh boy.
That always makes me think of Titus Andromedon.
Oh no, I've never seen that show. So
come on, man.
Oh, sorry, man. There's lots of shows on Netflix.
Great show.
Lots of shows.
But yeah, I was hoping for a laugh out of that one.
No. So like my joke earlier, it fell flat. So
yeah, we're tied 1-1.
Yeah,
but yeah, Andromeda, man, that fascinates me. Like, I'm just gonna there. Okay.
Whoa, man, space.
Dude,
whoa, bro.
Now I'm in the zone to talk.
Let's take a hit
space.
or something.
But like,
there's no drugs actually
in this podcast. If you think about it though, like, what do you think is in Andromeda?
I don't know, man. Like that's what fascinates me about the whole space exploration and things. Like, we have no idea what's out there. Like,
I'm just gonna take a couple minutes just to like
we have
do this for a second. But like, doesn't that fascinate you? Like,
yeah,
what planets are in just that? Because that's, I believe, the closest galaxy to ours.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
we have no idea what's out there. Like,
it's blowing my mind.
Our observable universe is so small.
That's the thing too. There's an observable universe.
Yeah, like it's so small compared to the trillions and trillions of other universes and galaxies,
and we can't even
and
get to the
stuff that are
planet that's
out there.
closest to us. We find it an accomplishment just to go to our moon,
Yeah,
or one moon, and there's planets that have.
I would love to
tons
be
of
able
moons.
to. I'll never live to 1,000 years old, but just I don't know if I'm.
Advancements in medical technology.
It's possible, yeah. Hopefully, when I'm looking down on my cloud or whatever,
Maybe
and,
because of space travel, they'll discover how to make us live longer.
I mean,
Because of the research.
cryogenic freezing is possible.
Does that mean Walt Disney's coming back?
Probably. They just have his head or whatever mounted in the cryogenically frozen area, and
Him and Ted Williams.
yes, and Richard Nixon and all of them. So that was a Futurama reference if you didn't get that.
I got that.
But I would love to see like 1,000 years from now, like what would the advancements be? Like where would the species be? We could be in 6,000 light years away from Earth. Earth could be a shriveled husk of whatever it used to be, and we could have life on somewhere else. And they'd be like, remember back in 2020 when,
remember when
human civilization.
Water? We thought it was such a big deal to have oceans and
Right.
land. Huh.
Yeah.
You don't need that.
I mean, you would have to discover a form of like light speed travel. Or
Well, that's the thing. And that's
almost
what,
not time travel, but like
but I think
that's
that's
how it
what's
works.
fascinating. You think about on Earth. They discovered like bullet trains and these things, like planes for that matter, just things that can go extremely fast in a pretty short amount of time, like years, chronologically speaking.
Right.
A couple hundred years, we've developed something that can go from point A to point B.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible.
I mean,
if we can do that in the next
Yeah.
couple hundred years with rockets, space
all
travel
it
in
takes
general,
is one breakthrough discovery to start a snowball effect. I mean, look at the discovery of the microscope. There was that started off, and then it exploded into advancements of medical technology. And now we have insights into X-rays and MRIs and the ability to see inside of the human body the ways we've never seen before. So all it takes is one little breakthrough into saying, hey, I figured out a way to, I don't know, decrease space travel time by 30%. Could be 1%.
Yeah.
A faster rocket, a way to use gravity to bend space and time. I mean, we're talking very science fiction here, but I mean, it's totally possible. So like all it takes is that one chance, and then boom, okay, we got this. Okay, we can do this now. We can do this, and then develop a shuttle, so to speak, to literally go through the folds of time.
I mean, the
space.
fact that we've developed things that to take pictures of these other planets or other galaxies, something so far away, and we have the ability to know it's out there because we can have, satellites or whatever, things. What are they called? What takes those pictures?
The telescopes.
But
yeah, like the Hubble telescope, and then there's the satellites that go out there, and then
so satellite does go out.
Yeah,
there
the
and
satellites
take
are like
picture,
the
right?
upper atmosphere and stuff, and then you've got like the unmanned probes or whatever.
But how do we get the pictures of like stuff in Andromeda?
So some of them are telescopes, and then some of them we send like I guess robots or like different like smaller shuttles into
That's what I was
space
trying to get at,
unmanned.
like, so a
and then
shuttle.
it takes photos. Like it goes out and it can take photos up to like I don't know X number of miles away.
Mm-hmm.
They're millions and millions of miles, and then they feed it back to us.
See, that's my point. Like
Yeah.
we've developed that technology. If we've gotten there, I'm thinking the next, maybe not direct next step, but a couple steps forward, we put someone on there.
Mm-hmm.
Then we start getting to, okay, can we land someone somewhere? I think we're closer than people think.
I think we're closer than you think too.
My
we're not to the
prediction-
point of like putting people on. I think we could probably get people on Mars in the next 50 years. I think
That's what I was going to
that's
say.
totally doable.
My prediction is we will have a human land on Mars within our lifetime.
It's
That's my bold
definitely
prediction.
possible.
And that's why
Yeah.
we need to keep investing. And I would say invest more into the space program.
Yeah, and I think obviously it's designed for the dreamers and for the people who really want to, I guess, find out and discover what's out there.
But I think it's more than that, though. It's not just because I want to know, because I'm curious. Like I said, I think...
But it's to advance the
Right.
human civilization. It's for the betterment of mankind.
Mhm.
And yes, while it is expensive, it costs billions of dollars to put a rocket on the moon or trillions of dollars to put people on Mars. It's worth it because of how much we can accomplish because of it. And if we don't, then we risk falling behind. And
we need to get an astronaut on this podcast.
We should get an astronaut on this podcast. I don't know any astronauts. I don't even know anybody in the space sector, but
I went to NASA once.
Oh, did you? That sounds cool.
It's worth it.
That would be. I'd like to go to NASA.
Pretty interesting. You see them building rockets right in front of you. You're like, wow,
Houston, we have a problem.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's such a fascinating topic because not only, the topic of investment in space travel, but just how small we are in the observable universe, and to think, well, there could be civilizations out there that are thousands of years older than us and trillions of light years away that we have no idea we'll ever know about. But for how big the universe is, it's incredible to think, how small we are in such a one little baby galaxy.
The fact, too, it always blows my mind how we're in the Milky Way. That's our galaxy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're in that, and we can't even get to these other planets that are within our galaxy. There's like billions of galaxies out there.
There's
galaxies.
so many.
Not planets, galaxies. That fascinates me.
There's
billions.
They do like the zoom out sometimes on the science shows of space, and it's like, we're here, and then they keep zooming out, and then like, okay, this is our solar system, and then they keep zooming out, and then it's our galaxy, and then like you see like the spirals and everything. Okay, there's trillions of other galaxies inside of this one universe, and then they keep going out, and then there's trillions of other of those ones inside of another. It's just like it's impossible. Like it's so big. It's an interesting analogy. It's God's sandbox is what I read it as sometimes. And I'm like, well, that's the best analogy I can think of it as. But
sounds overwhelming for God to keep track of. He's got to keep track of Earth. He's got to keep track of all these other planets. Like, man, people. That's why when people complain about Earth, they're like, man, how could you let this happen, God? He's like, man, I'm focusing on these other planets today. Like,
you think God's got like a spreadsheet in Excel or something, just like, oh my God, okay.
All right, 9 a.m.
I've got to go.
Gotta do
got a
Jupiter,
conference call with the
Mars.
guys in the Andromeda galaxy over here. I'm not really liking what Earth's doing here, but we're going to put them on the back burner for now or something.
I'll get to them.
Yeah, next quarter.
That's
or
after
lunch. So with all the great things in space, there are some dangers in space travel as well. So it's not all glitz and glamour and
aliens.
Aliens is a great example of dangers, but more solid dangers are some of the space debris and the rubbish that's up there as well. It makes space exploration a little bit more dangerous if you're an astronaut and you're working on the space station. The more times we go into space, the more, I guess, parts of the shuttles and things that fall off, the more chances you have to damage other spacecrafts, or you can get hit by one, or
Did you ever see the
something
movie
like
Lost
that.
in Space?
No.
Danger, Will Robinson.
Danger, Will Robinson.
There's a reference.
I know
for
that.
you.
I actually got that reference. So that's another danger as well. And then obviously, these have the potential to destroy satellites, to disrupt navigation systems, TV broadcasts, and everything, signals and all that.
No,
kind of stuff. No,
that's the worst danger.
I know.
Don't interrupt my broadcast.
But I mean, if you're like the government or the military using a satellite signal to track, I don't know, something, and that goes out.
Very technical. Track something.
I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I just play one on this podcast.
That brought up a point I'm going to go back to real quick on another reason for space travel, bringing up danger, studying these asteroids and these things that crash into Earth. You always hear about these giant asteroids that could kill thousands
Planet
of millions
killers.
of people. Yeah, and it's like, well, or just that could land and kill people.
I mean, yeah, it's possible. They're from the original creation or like the start of the universe. They're just pieces of rock hurtling through space.
I think if we aren't out there studying that stuff and knowing that, hey, this is coming towards Earth, beware.
Just don't try and land on it and drill a hole 800 meters down and plant a nuclear bomb inside of it, because that may or may not work.
Is that a thing?
No, it's a movie, Armageddon, with Bruce Willis. R.I.P. Bruce Willis and Owen Wilson and Michael Clark Duncan and everyone who died on that fateful expedition in Armageddon.
Oh, man, you just
Great
gave away
movie.
the ending.
Stupid movie.
Michael Clark Duncan, actual R.I.P.
Actual R.I.P. for Michael Clark Duncan. Steve Buscemi is in that movie too, and it is just like the most
Steve
ridiculous.
Buscemi,
Yeah,
The like guy in LA Adam Sandler movies?
Yeah.
What?
He's in that movie. Bruce Willis is in that movie. Ben Affleck is in that movie.
Whoa.
Liv Tyler.
Yeah. A-list cast.
It's directed by Michael Bay, so
wow.
It's a really dumb movie, but it's a guilty pleasure.
So it's the Expendables of space movies.
It's the Expendables of early 2000s.
We just put a bunch of A-list actors in there that, you'll go watch this movie.
So
I didn't say it's good.
Quick side tangent. Their entire goal is a giant meteor is coming to destroy Earth. Billy Bob Thornton's in it as well.
Oh, man.
And so they're like, let's send a bunch of oil drillers who've never been in space before.
He's the oil driller.
Send them all. Yeah, Bruce Willis is the oil driller.
I was going to say Billy Bob Thornton.
No, he's the NASA scientist dude.
Really?
Yeah. So they're like sending them all up. It's a big controversy. Like, oh, we can't send oil drillers who've never had a day of space training in their life or up, whatever. They go up. They land. They have to land on this giant asteroid that's hurtling through space at like 9,000 miles an hour, which is impossible to do because no spacecraft can go 9,000 miles an hour.
Oh, and they have to go crash into it so it explodes.
Well, they finally land on it, and they have to drill a hole down in...
They land on it.
That's
on
even
it. Dumber.
Exactly. And
if they just crashed into it, that would be a better plot.
But they have to drill a hole like 800 meters into the center and then set off a nuclear bomb, and there's one dude with a gun in space, and Bruce Willis is like, why do you have a gun in space? And he's like, for security protocols, blah, blah, blah. It's the dumbest movie of all time. And
I'm going to say... And maybe this is a side tangent of what we can change. Stop making space movies so stupid. Like, you ever see The Martian?
Oh, I like that movie. The movie's great.
That movie's so dumb.
Oh, that's actually pretty realistic.
Not good
compared to other space movies. So.
Pretty realistic. Human landing on Mars.
I mean,
and has to live up there
within the next 50 years. It's
also,
possible.
Ad Astra with Brad Pitt.
Oh, that movie was terrible.
Awful. And then he finds his dad, Tommy Lee Jones, who's also in a very good movie, Space Cowboys.
That's a good movie, too.
That is a good movie. But he finally finds him, and then he just doesn't want to go home. He's like, no, I'm just going to stay and chill up here. Like, well, what was the point of the movie? Also, Liv Tyler's in that movie.
Oh,
space
well,
movie.
She likes space movies, then.
She's barely in it.
Did you ever see Gravity?
Yeah, not very
good.
That
movie was bad.
That, to
R.I.P.
me...
George Clooney in that movie, too.
That was a knockoff of Interstellar. To me.
Oh, I loved Interstellar.
I loved Interstellar.
That was such a great movie.
But I feel like Gravity came out right after they found out Interstellar did well.
Yeah.
And then they're like, ooh, people are into space movies. Let's pump this out.
I honestly feel like Interstellar is probably the closest we can get to a real-world application of how to do space travel and, like, how it happens. So, like, you've seen the movie, but that's...
All right. I'm going to go up into space.
I love space, y'all. But I love... I think that's
Can you build my rocket ship as a Lincoln? I want a Lincoln
Sometimes,
Navigator
in order
for my
to go
spaceship.
forward, you got to go backwards instead. Oh, man, I love our impersonations, too, so... but yeah, that's the episode.
I feel like my impersonation turned into Bill Clinton.
It did kind of turn into a Bill Clinton. I did not have sexual relations with that space rock. Okay, space and I did not have relationships. But that's the episode.
No comment.
I am all for one investment in space travel. It's not as much money as you might think it is because that money is going to go to somewhere else. So
sounds like an advertisement. It's cheaper than you think.
It's cheaper than you think.
You spend more, you'll save
there's
more.
So I mean, I think the pros outweigh the cons of it, and the ability to push scientific advancements forward is second to none. So that's my take on it, and that's your take as well. So
full agreement.
And tweet at us if you want us to do a follow-up episode on this where we just talk about other stuff in space.
We'll rate Space Force. We'll give you the answers to Space Force.
Yes, that, and we'll rate the worst and the best space movies.
Oh, I thought you were going to say we're going to rate planets.
We could rate the planets.
We're going to tell you which planets are good and which
I only know 8
suck.
planets, so I don't know that much. So
you only know 8?
It's a very small amount of planets that I know.
Those are 8. I thought there were...
Well, Pluto's not a planet, so...
Oh, so that used to be the 9th planet? So now there's 8?
I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I just play one on this podcast. So. But if you like what we talked about in this episode, we want to continue the conversation afterwards. Hit us up on Twitter, YouTube, and every social media. Let us know what your thoughts as well. Should the U.S. or the world invest in more space travel? Would it be better off if they took that money and put it into other support programs like healthcare or
anything else.
Agriculture. Should we let Elon Musk and the private sector run the space program, or treat us to nice space vacations to Mars and the moon, or whatever? I don't know, other planets.
Airbnb on the moon.
Airbnb on the moon. Genius idea. So I don't see how that could possibly go wrong. Check us out on Twitter at Weekendology Pod. Follow our other social handles as well at Weekendology Sports and Weekendology ENT. Check us out on YouTube at Weekendology Podcast and our Facebook page at just search Weekendology Podcast for that as well. Don't forget to keep up with all of our other forms of social media for all the best coverage on sports, music, movies, and more. If you're looking for a quick boost of positivity, check out our last episode on Apple Podcasts, where we talk about all the good things that come out of the pandemic. I think it was a great episode and kind of turned the tide on all the negativity.
Silver lining, for sure.
There's a silver lining, yes.
Also, follow my boy Chris Cassidy.
Chris Cassidy?
Yeah.
Wow. Who's that?
At Astro_Seal.
Okay.
Chris
Cassidy.
Up there in the International Space Station as we speak right now. So
there you
looking
go.
down on us all.
Wow.
But he's got a fire Twitter game. I'm gonna say.
Okay. They got Twitter up in space then. Space Twitter.
Yeah.
They probably have the best connections up there. No lag time. No
I know
load time.
the
all the satellites are right up there too.
Yeah, they're just right outside. But he's got some pretty crazy pictures. He's taking pictures of rivers yesterday, and he's like, "Man, it's so fascinating to me to like look at this river and blah blah." I'm like, "Man, that's just fascinating." You're like taking a picture literally up in space, looking down on, "Hey, there's my buddies in Brazil and whatever."
Tweet at us if you want us to do an episode in space next time. We'll venture off into the upper atmosphere and do an episode.
If we could
zero gravity podcast,
or if we could just get him on the podcast and just interview someone in space.
Tweet at him, Aaron. Get him on the podcast. You're the recruiter for our guests.
I'll tweet at him, but give him a follow, and everyone out there tweet at him as well and tell him to come on the Weekendology podcast.
Yes, we all need the Weekend Warrior support to get this man on the podcast here. Don't forget to check out the Big Red World as well. They're on Twitter at Big Red Social, and their website is bigredworld.org. Be sure to follow us on all of our social channels. We've got new episodes every Friday, so until next time, enjoy the weekend, and we'll see you guys then.